This incredible story is about how I healed a physical ailment almost instantly by repeating a mantra: thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. It really is special, and it's part of this story is part of the reason why I've been teaching this for all these years. About 4 years ago, I was going for a routine morning walk. At that time, I used to walk 3 to 6 miles every morning. Halfway through my 6 mile walk, I started feeling pain in my knees. And it would gradually get worse to the point where it almost felt like it was fused together and I couldn't move at all. So my leg was locked in place. So I said to myself, oh my God, what's happening to me? And I was reminded that when I was a teenager and I used to play a lot of basketball, my coach used to remind me, listen, you got to take it easy, playing so hard because you're going to feel these effects later on in life. You're beating up your knees. And for years, I would ignore them. When I went into my 20s and then my 30s, I would experience pain from time to time. And I was like, well, they reminded me and they warned me about this, and I guess I'm going to pay for it. But I did my best to ignore it. So here we are at this moment. I'm in the street trying to walk back home with a knee that doesn't really work well. And I'm about to call the doctor to make an appointment to have this checked out, when I'm reminded at that moment, through this thought process I was having, to practice that mantra that I had just learned about months before this time. So I said, well, it couldn't hurt, right? I learned this mantra, and the mantra says, keep repeating it, and you'll experience physical, mental, emotional, spiritual healing. So that's what I did. I started in the middle of the street, if you can imagine this. I'm repeating, thank you, I love you, please forgive me, over and over again. And then all of a sudden, I hear this voice in me say to me, Dimitri, you have a fear of moving forward. And I thought that was interesting. And so I just kept what I call cleaning, right? I kept repeating this mantra: thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. Tell me more about this fear of moving forward. So here's what's interesting, and this is how our minds work. And once you understand this, your life truly can change. Your mind wants to keep you safe at all costs, right? Which means doing the same thing you've been doing, right? Because when you make a change in your life, when you choose to take a different direction in a different path or a different direction, your mind freaks out and says, wait a minute, we're doing something new. And if we do something new, that means we're moving into the unknown. And if we move into the unknown, we're not safe, because the unknown equates to being unsafe, according to the mind. So the mind will do everything it can to push you back into something that makes you comfortable. Now, it may not be for your highest good, but it certainly is your comfort zone. So that's what my body was doing in the moment. You see, it was around that time, maybe a month prior, where I had one of those aha experiences where everything changed in my life. And I was determined to make forward progress. I wasn't going to do the same shit I was doing for 40 years. And I had a plan in my mind. But that plan completely contradicted my path up until that point. So the mind said to me, Dimitri, I know what's better for you than you do. So I'm literally going to keep you safe by keeping you stuck. So I'm going to fuse your leg together, if that makes any sense, so you can't physically move forward. Once I understood this, I'm like, oh my God, this makes total sense. I started cleaning on that, right? So I kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. So thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And I'll just continue to repeat this. And as I would repeat it, I'd see these memories and these thoughts of past experiences that sort of all made sense. Events where I wanted to move forward and take steps forward, but I felt blocked, I felt stuck, or something would take place would scare me so much where I would revert back to my old ways. So for 40 years, I was just sort of repeating the same story over and over again. The faces were different, the circumstances might have been different, but the results were the same. And the circumstances, for the most part, didn't deviate, if that makes any sense. So after having this revelation, I spent the night cleaning and praying and saying, okay, I'm moving forward no matter what. So what is it going to take for me to move forward and release this energy that's in my knees that's keeping me from moving forward? Within 24 hours, the pain was gone. And I was walking. I felt stronger. Forget walking. I was sprinting without the pain that I was experiencing for all these years. it's because the mantra played a part in this for sure, but the mantra only allowed me to open up my mind so I can go deep into my thoughts and my subconscious and say, all right, I'm ready to take responsibility for whatever's going on within me. And as soon as I was ready to take responsibility, those thoughts came up and I was able to release them. And once you release the energy that's within you, then the things that manifest because of this energy sort of dissipate, they minimize, or they go away completely. It's a pretty incredible story, right? So before you've convinced yourself that you're broken or you have a bad body or physically you're incapable, think about the stories that you're telling yourself or that you've been telling yourself for months, years, decades, Decades maybe? And clean up the story that's in your mind. And once you clean up the muck and the junk that's convinced you that you're limited, watch how you physically change. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually. You just become a different person because the programs that are running you have changed. I love you all. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. And I'm sorry.